The Overstood Human Podcast. Unfiltered dialogue, real solutions, no labels. The Overstood Human Podcast exists to inspire people to live with strength, freedom, and a purpose in a world full of noise and division. We champion a life anchored in true health, strong family, personal sovereignty, and self-discovery, inspiring our listeners to thrive beyond the confines of the design system. Our mission is to inspire you to break free from mediocrity, think independently, and live a life of meaning, resilience, and impact. Hello, everybody. I am Frank Tortorici.
And my name is Sarah Green, and this is the Overstood Human Podcast.
Yeah, today we're going in. We're going to the abyss. We're gonna. This episode came about pretty abruptly, I think, for us. The Super Bowl is in a few days, and when you're doing a podcast, you're always looking for show concepts and things to discuss. And this just kind of hit me over the head like a ton of bricks the other day. So I hit up Sarah and I was like, Sarah, we've got to. This has to be said. So, Sarah, here we are. Sarah, let me ask you something really quick, though. Before we even do this and go into this, what I've been noticing so much over the last couple of years, and just even more so now that we're doing this podcast, because people are reaching out to me and, asking questions and contacting me, I just find that so many of us that have awakened to this system, this matrix, a lot of people are so caught up in constantly talking about it too. There's like no light at the end of the tunnel, no solution. And quite frankly, I don't know how you could come up with any solution if you keep just talking about how grim everything is and how helpless and hopeless we should feel as a society. Are you noticing that too? Because that's definitely like the stuff that I get sent to me all day long. It's just all of that. And I just wish it was more solution-based and light-based as well. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of gloom and doom going on, and I think that that's just part of what Satan wants, right? I mean, he wants people to feel defeated. He wants people to give up. He's battling for your soul. And I think if we can take a step back and realize that what's happening in the world today has been happening in the world since the beginning of time. And although it's heinous and disgusting, and when people truly understand the pain and suffering that many people go through, victims of whatever they're doing, it's been happening for forever, and God sees it all. And we have to remember, ultimately, like, this battle is already won. It's already played out. When Jesus died on the cross and rose again, he was victorious, and he'll take back this world. He'll take his people back. And so we have to be light in the darkness. We are on this planet for a very short period of time. And so just having hope and faith. I mean, in the Bible, over 300 times it says, do not have fears, don't fear, lean into him. So yes, doom and gloom is what Satan wants you to carry on forever and ever until you pass. But we have to find the light always in this darkness.
Yeah. Well said, as always. But it's how do we? You're not going to beat the system, and that's not to be negative, but this system, as you said, this is well designed, and the roots and its tentacles run so deep that you're a fool to think that you can beat it. So the wise man, in my eyes, takes the path of, okay, I see it, I understand it, I know what it is. Now, how do I navigate through it and around it and find the best way that I can possibly live? How can I impact other people to get them to live the best? Because again, the people that get it, if we keep living in it, then what's the point of getting it? Right? You're getting your ass kicked from it every single day then. So it's counterproductive, right? So we're going to go back to that. We're going to end this on that note, but we are going to take a little deep dive right now, and this is something that I think is important because again, it's the matrix and everything is put out there, and so many people get caught up in this. So here we go. So Tim, if we can get that first slide. So as we know, in a couple of days, it's Super Bowl 60 taking place. Okay. And I love all these slides that you just type into Google because as you can see in that top right corner, it pulls from all like the big articles from all big sites that are publishing these articles. And this just gives you an idea of how many people are expected to be watching the Super Bowl in a few days this weekend. It says approximately 125 to 127 million viewers are expected to watch. A record 213.1 million US adults plan to tune into the game in some capacity. So that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. Why do you think, I don't even know what the number is. We didn't pull any slides on that, but what these corporations pay to advertise during this game. It's, do you guys have any, Sarah, do you know anything about that? Like I've heard crazy astronomical numbers, but can you throw a number out there that you've heard of for like a 30-second commercial?
Oh gosh, well, I remember back in the day when it was in multiple millions of dollars, and that was some time
Right.
ago. Where if you think about money back then versus now, you're probably looking at many, 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 many millions of dollars to have a
For
commercial.
like a 30-second spot. It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
So that's how many people are projected to be watching this spectacle.
Mhm.
And then that next slide, Tim, if we can just pull that up just to give people an idea. There's about 342 to 343 million people living in the US. That's per the US Census Bureau population clock. So more than half the country is expected to be watching this thing. Okay. Now, as we know, it is Super Bowl, right? So Tim, if we could pull up that next slide. The Super Bowl. Okay, let's remember here. America is built on Freemasonry. All right, the origins of so many things that we know of and consider normal in our society is, in fact, originating from Freemasonry. So many presidents have been Freemasons. So many people in positions of power. Again, I'm not saying I've known people who are Freemasons over the years, but they're not in the higher ups. They're just the common man, learning different values and ways of being. But we're talking like, when we talk Freemasonry and its tentacles in society, we're really going, up the food chain there, the 33 degrees and the Scottish Rite and etc. But what's important to know, let's look at the word Super Bowl, right? If you split that after the B and before the O, you get the word superb owl, right? Now think about that. Like where did this all come from, right? Like even look at a lot of sports again are come from origins of Freemasonry. Even like baseball, you look at the baseball diamond. If you look at it from an aerial view, it's like the compass with the Freemason logo. So it's there. So when we look at the superb owl and we read the owl in Freemasonry is a symbol of wisdom, knowledge, and vigilance. But here's the part that really gets me. Often representing the ability to see through darkness or hidden truths. Now, what have you could pull out of that one, Tim, that I think is enough on that. But what have we known, Sarah, over year after year after year after every Super Bowl? It's like that Monday morning, people are going haywire, right? On the halftime show or the commercials, the subliminals, right? I mean, it's insane, right? I mean, there's been countless Super Bowl halftime shows. I think it was even no, it wasn't the Super Bowl. It was the Olympics, I think, in 2012, where they had all the nurses running around with the syringes. It was like a total like pre-COVID premonition. But then you had Super Bowls, you had Madonna, you had I can't even think of them. There was a lot of them. I mean, Madonna was literally like the Baphomet in that Super Bowl show that she did that time. So it's interesting that it always gets that buzz of like subliminals and all that taking place. And when we look at the representation of the owl in Freemasonry, the superb owl, Super Bowl, it's pretty like, wow, that's it. To me, that's interesting. What do you think about that? I think it's a pretty interesting correlation there.
Symbolism. That's what they were all about. That's what
Hmm.
the Luciferians that have their tentacles and everything in this world is all about symbolism. So their numbers all mean something. The words that we speak without understanding the meaning, it all means something. And so they're telling a story, they're giving you a story through their numbers, through their names, through
Hmm.
it's all you got to be able to kind of dive deep into that. But there's a lot. I mean, it's all very satanic. Super
Hmm.
Bowl is um, it's the number one child sex trafficking day in the whole year. Think about,
Hmm.
I mean, it is. There's nothing positive about it. Um, so it's going to be in the Super Bowl halftime show. Yeah, there's not a single time that I can think of, and I really don't watch sports anymore because I think it's already the winner's already predetermined, and you can see that.
Hmm.
And it's I'm not going to waste my time. There's so many other things that I
Yeah.
can be doing other than wasting my time watching a premeditated show. Um,
Hmm.
but it gets worse and worse every year. Every year
Hmm.
you're like, it can't be much worse than that. And it's all Satan, it's all Luciferian, it's all Freemasonry. So why would we expect anything less this year?
Exactly. Yeah. And guys, I've said this before, I think on one of our episodes or on maybe a live that we did, but there's a great book I encourage everybody to pick up. It's called The Tavistock Institute of Human Relations, written by Dr. John D. Coleman. It's hard to find now. It's really hard to find. Um, but in a nutshell, nothing at this level happens organically. Like absolutely nothing. Like we are in like in a simulation. Like everything is predetermined, and it's just a matter of fact. And even when it comes down to things like this, let's go a little bit further. Tim, let's see that next slide, please, when you get a chance. Okay, so as we said, this is Super Bowl 60, and the two teams are the Seattle Seahawks versus the New England Patriots. Okay, so you think, oh, it's the Seahawks versus the Patriots. Cool. Now, again, what's going on in our country right now that's so evident, divisive? Everyone's talking about it. It's ICE, right? That's like such a hot topic right now of what's going on, right? ICE, 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 the immigration. Again, I have a firm belief. Once your eyes open, you can no longer believe in coincidences. You just
Mhm.
you lose that luxury to believe in coincidences. Would you think? What do you think about that, Sarah? That
Oh,
mindset?
absolutely. Yeah.
Mm,
Everything is the world is a stage.
mm-hmm,
Um, everything's a lie. And
mm-hmm.
once you take your head out of the sand, you can't go back.
Yeah. So, we have the Seattle Seahawks versus the New England Patriots. Okay, cool. Tim, when you get a chance, next slide, please. Okay, so everyone knows the word patriot, right? It's associated with patriotism, American. There you can see in the blue, the American colonies should be independent from Great Britain, advocated for self-governance, liberty, and rights against perceived British oppression like taxation without representation, leading them to support creating their own democratic republic. So the patriots, right? America. That's the core of it, right? Let's hit that next slide. And then this is just what the origins and like just the history of the New England Patriot team. And we just see their regional unity, the team where the team represents in Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, etc. Historical pride, the Patriots name and Revolutionary era mascot reflect the New England's role in the birth of the United States. The Patriot Way, a culture often associated with the team under Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, that emphasized team first mentality, discipline, situational readiness, and sustained success. So there you have the Patriots, right? Now remember, keep reminding yourself what's going on right now with ICE and in our country, the divisiveness, red versus blue, Republican, Democrat, yada, yada, yada. Just keep remembering that in the background. You with me, Sarah?
I'm with you. Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next slide. this is about the Seattle Seahawks. And again, they're a blend of Pacific Northwest identity, Pacific indigenous culture, and a community-focused, resilient spirit, often termed the 12. Founded in 1976, they symbolize regional pride through their colors and historically by supporting local tribes. Okay, so that's the Seahawks, right? Culture representation, yada, yada, yada. Let's go to that next slide. And this is the part that stood out to me. This is about the team itself. So again, we have the regional identity, but let's look at that second bullet point. Community and inexclusivity. The organization focuses on diversity, equity, and inclusion, aiming to champion equality both on and off the field. So the Seahawks, I'm going to read that again. Community and inexclusivity. The organization focuses on diversity, equity, and inclusion, aiming to champion equality both on and off the field. Pretty, we could take a pause from that, Tim. Pretty interesting contrast between the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks.
Yep.
What do you think about that? Am I crazy?
No, it's they're like the polar opposites, right? We've got one that is about freedom and breaking free from slavery and having your own system versus the other one that's all, in my mind, it's just critical race theory, right? We're all equal. I mean, it's socialism. And if you look at Seattle, I mean, think about just the city, Seattle. It's very, gosh, I wouldn't want to be living in Seattle. A lot of riots, a lot of bad stuff happening. So you've got these. You're right. I mean, it's these two polar opposite teams, and what they represent, which is exactly what's happening in this country right now. It's divide, divide, divide. You've got Trump, who has a party, and who does he invite but Vanilla Ice singing Ice Ice Baby. We've got this ice storm coming. They're warning us about
Wait, pause
this.
on that. I didn't hear about that. Wait, what?
Yeah, he had like a party at Mar-a-Lago, and the person he invited to sing was Vanilla Ice, and he's singing Ice Ice Baby.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I did not hear about that. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's all like they show you, right? When Frank and I tell you guys the world's a stage, it's a stage. Don't like, they're all actors. And I've fallen for it before. So don't ever count on flesh, a human, to save you from anything. The left and the right are two wings of the same bird. And so you get, and their whole goal is to divide, right? So you've got, and while they're dividing, they don't want you to really focus on what's actually happening, right? So they keep you always looking, always, never actually focusing on what truly is going on. There's so much happening, and the media, I mean, the media is the worst thing you can, I truly think that the media is an arm of Satan for sure, because what they show is what everyone focuses on, when in reality, there's so much more going on. But no, it's So Trump had Vanilla Ice singing Ice Ice Baby. It's symbolism.
Can't say I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Can't say I'm surprised.
Nothing is surprising anymore.
No.
Yeah.
No, nothing. That's crazy. So again, let's just recap. There's that many people, more than half the country is expected to be watching this thing. You look at the two teams that are playing, Seahawks versus the Patriots, what Patriots stand for, what the Seahawks stand for. Pretty crazy, right? Like, you look at what's going on in the world right now, especially in this country, the divisiveness, what Sarah said, the ICE situation, Patriots, Seahawks, culture, diversity, inclusion, like the similarities here, again, you lose the luxury to believe in coincidences at this point. I'm sorry. And let's just hit this next slide now, Tim, when you can, please. And now we segue into the halftime show. Okay. Now, look, entertainment can be entertainment. I get it. But on this stage, it's always somewhat of a, again, a ritual slash humiliation opportunity, right? I don't know much about Bad Bunny or anything, so I can't, I don't follow that. So anyway, but the point that I'm making here, again, think of Ice. Just keep that in the back of your head of what's going on right now. He is going to be the first artist in history to perform an entire set in Spanish. So just imagine how people who are so far on the right and caught up in this divisiveness too, my red team is better than your blue team, and how angry they're going to be at the fact that it's going to be the first set in Spanish, that they're not going to be able to understand anything, right? And then if we go to the next slide, there's rumors that Bad Bunny is going to be coming out and wearing a dress during the show to show his unity with the LGBTQ community and his support for them. So now you bring that into it, the divisiveness amongst that, right? And then last but not least, this next slide, we have the grieving widow there, Miss Erica Kirk. Turning Point is going to have their own Super Bowl halftime show to bring in family and Christian values to nullify the badness of the Bad Bunny performance. Poor Charlie Kirk. I don't know. Who knows if he's, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know. He's probably still alive.
Nothing's
more
real.
Than likely. But do you guys see what's going on here? Do you see what's going on here? I mean, and then one more, that last slide, Tim, just to put the cherry on top, please. Lo and behold, just the other day, we had 3 million plus pages of documents come out of the Epstein files. And man, from the Department of Justice, I read some of it. It's cringeworthy. It's disgusting. It's nauseating. Your favorite politicians, your favorite celebrities, your favorite tech guru who wants to put vaccines in everybody. It's pretty graphic. Robin Leach from The Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. Like, I mean, it's graphic. Like, I would advise anybody who has a sensitive stomach, don't read some of this stuff. If you can avoid it. But there you go. That's what's going on in America right now, just over these last couple of days. And if you think it's all by coincidence and you want to believe in coincidences, then I do not know what to tell you at this point, personally. But I mean, when you just put all of that together, it's pretty mind-blowing. And I guarantee you, by Monday morning, when that game is over Sunday night, this country is going to be on fire. That whole week, you're going to want to probably just put your phone on airplane mode, because you want to talk about negativity that's probably going to be at an all-time high, divisiveness at an all-time high. You know, Trump's going to take the bait and start tweeting during the Super Bowl performance, just to spew that into society too. And you know, it's going to be a total anti-Trump performance. I read, we didn't even touch on this, but Green Day, the band, is supposed to be performing as well. I don't know if alongside Bad Bunny or right after him, and they're total anti-Trump. So it's just going to be this the whole time. And that is the point, people. That is the point. We are the pawns on the chessboard. And as long as we keep fighting and we keep dividing, it's game over. It is game over. It's game over for us. You can forget it. So it's these spectacles that to your point, Sarah, they put it in our face, almost to the point to where it's done purposely, I feel, to desensitize people to it. Therefore, like, when people hear you or I bringing these points up, you look crazy because it's so obvious, in a sense, that it's like it's just the average person can't wrap their head around it because it's too over the top, in a sense, for them, which is wild to me. What do you? I mean, again, am I being like too dramatic to say that? Like, come Monday morning, what do you think things are going to look like here that following week?
I think we're actually keeping it pretty mild in all reality of truth and facts. But it is, and they're going to have all this divisiveness because they're going to try to hide what's actually going on, and that's their end game is don't let the public in on what is actually happening. So we got to make sure that there's all of these false flags going on. We got to make sure that we keep the country divided. I mean, civil war is what they're hoping will happen. They've been hoping that will happen because what better way to take out populations of people to just have them fight each other? They don't have to do anything, you know? And so there's going to be, look out for the false flags. There's always going to be a false flag. As soon as something's about to drop, the media will show something different to take away the attention of what's actually happening. But that's their end game. That's how they have. And when I say they, it's bigger than the deep state. It's bigger than it's bigger than government. I mean, we're truly talking about Luciferian rule, Luciferian fallen angels, you know. And that's ultimately what's going on. When we read over and over again, this is a spiritual battle. It is a spiritual battle. How many times just since we've started this in the last couple of weeks, since we've really started kind of opening up more and more about what we know, have we had our media not work, trying to get online, trying to do lives, trying to get microphones to work? I mean, Satan is actively trying to silence those who are bringing the truth out. And if you live in fear and you don't speak the truth, you're not living at all. And that you let them win. So you can't be fearful. But no, it is so much bigger. And that's their whole game, you know, like instead of people coming together and we're all Americans, we're all sons and daughters of God. We all bleed red. Instead of fighting, we need to be uniting. And when we all stand up and say enough is enough, they no longer have their puppets to pull the strings. But that truly has to almost, you got to get to that point. You know, so many people are caught up. I mean, look at, you know, the nurse that was shot by the ICE agent. First of all, like, why are you out there doing that? You know, it's these people, George Soros, he pays a lot of people to just, to they're actors, catching, you know, the media, truly the media is evil, right? So they're going to put something out there that's going to stir up the people, that's going to piss off the population, when in reality, most of that stuff is probably not even actually happening. Again, the world's a stage. So they're going to have these actors playing roles to make everyone believe that something is taking place. And we saw that during COVID over and over and over again. So if you guys have forgotten, just remind yourself what happened during COVID, and hopefully you can refresh your memory, because this is how they've been doing this since the beginning of time. And their goal is to just make everybody uneasy and fight each other when we should be uniting with each other. And when that day happens, then good will outwin bad. It does anyways, but we'll be able to witness that here.
Yeah, the more that they can amplify titles, the stronger their mission becomes, right? Gay, black, white, straight, Latino, like it's titles. And to Sarah's point, we're all human beings. We're all human beings. And I always say this, we have more in common with each other when we cross paths with each other on the street, at the store, than you ever will for anyone that you're willing to die for that's like a politician on TV. You know what I mean? And people fail to realize that and recognize that. And again, as I started out with this, because we're a little limited on time today, I want to bring it back to the point that if you are awake to all this stuff, like let me ask you this, Sarah, when you're working with people, you know, I think you said predominantly your work is really in cancer now, right? If a patient is constantly talking about their cancer, are they ever going to heal from their cancer? I mean, their probability lessens. Is it safe in saying that if they're constantly talking about how bad it is?
Yeah, I mean, stress, I tell this to everybody, stress will kill you. And that's, you know, we hear that saying all the time. and don't really understand the grips at what that means, but it will literally kill you. So when you get caught up on a diagnosis and you now own it, which we don't want anyone to own, cancer is just a cry from the body saying, hey, something's not right. But when you identify with a diagnosis, it will kill you. So the anxiety, the stress, the nervousness. I had a patient the other day. She's actually going to be coming to Tennessee with me in March. And she said, I finally got to the point, Sarah, she said, I'm not scared anymore.
Mm.
I'm at peace with what happens. I know God is in control. And this whole time she's just been so nervous and so nervous and so scared and just fearful. And she said, something shifted and I'm not scared. And it was like, I get the goosebumps because when you can finally get to the point, like we are all here for a very short period of time. If you think about how long this world's been here and who actually knows, because everything's a lie.
Right.
But when you get to the point of no longer living in fear, the power you get back when you step out of living in fear is palpable. And that's when the healing can start taking place, is when fear is no longer at the forefront of your mind. So it's powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the same holds true in my line of work, right? It's like if I'm helping somebody with their fitness standpoint or how they're eating, what they're eating, fasting, cold therapy, if you're focused on the negative aspects of the hard work that it's going to take, then you're never going to accomplish and get to experience the positive effects of what you would be doing and accomplishing those tasks. So if we're constantly focused on the negative in our society, and that means you're constantly living in it.
Yeah.
So if you're constantly living in it, they're still winning. Okay, great. So you recognize it, but if that's all you keep talking about and living in, then to Sarah's point, you're stressed out. Cortisol's through the roof. You're becoming like more and more acidic, and then you pick up more nervous habits and do other things to soothe yourself, whether it's smoking, drinking, eating bad. I know a lot of people who are awake that drink, eat like crap, and smoke, but they know the corruption of everything else. So it's like you're still you're still a slave to the system. Those are corporate slave foods. They got you on another from another corner, right? So for me, the solution can only come about if we continue to talk solution based. And from my vantage point, there is no solution when you're not rooted in your faith. Like that's where it starts for me, because this is the solutions for ourselves are not going to come from us. They're going to come downloaded through us from the Holy Spirit. It's not us taking credit for that, and it's not us that's doing that. We are being guided, okay? And if we do not give ourselves to this powerful presence, then we're going to lose ourselves in the mix. So I just want anyone listening that, particularly that sends me stuff, stop sending me all of that stuff, because it's not going to get us anywhere. It's just not. The conversation needs to be thought-provoking. And look, we're in times right now where it's like maybe you got to go in with like 3 or 4 people and buy a couple of acres of land somewhere and just keep paying it off so you have it. Maybe you don't need it right now, right? Stocking up on certain things, and having somebody to hold you account. I've been trying to do this with some male friends and no one's taken the bite yet, but I want to get together with some of my male friends, even over on the phone or whatever, and just take 10, 15 minutes just to pray together and air out our fears and our worries and our doubts right now of what we're going through, of what we're being faced with. Because anxiety is at an all-time high for a lot of people. I mean, and I know that because of the work that I do with clients, like even the successful people, like anxiety is at an all-time high. A lot of people's businesses are in limbo. We're in like a time of uncertainty of where this is all going. So there needs to be proactive thinking and proactive actions being had by all of us that can diagnose this cancer that is trying to manipulate and control and literally snatch our souls. And the only way to do that is by communicating with one another from a vantage point of being rooted in our faith. That's where it's going to have to start. And then beyond that, it's going to have to take its natural progression and course. But it can't happen if we're just constantly humdrum and then numbing ourselves with bad food, narcotics, and alcohol and everything else. You just can't, especially the people with the alcohol, right? What are they called? Spirits, alcohol. You're filling yourself with the wrong spirit, right? So it really needs to be a solution-based conversation. So whatever that may be for the listeners here, whatever thoughts may come up from what I just said of that, follow your intuition with that, but please stop following the narrative and tread carefully. And Sarah, I think you and I have talked about this before, on camera, but definitely off camera. Our algorithms on all of our accounts, they're feeding our beliefs, right? There's a lot of things that come up that I believe in, and then I'll read and I'll be like, wow, that's crazy. And then I'll dig in somewhere. I'm like, oh, that's AI. That's total BS. Like, they're getting even us if you don't take a step back, because we're all operating from emotion and panic and not from God's vantage point. And that's where we're missing the mark here. And that is the solution, God's vantage point. And when I say God's vantage point, if going to church for you on a Sunday does that, great. That's not what I mean though. Church for me is every single day when I'm out and about and when I'm interacting and when I'm doing stuff like this. This is my platform and Sarah's platform to be ministers, in a sense, to preach the word and to show hope and to give hope and to speak non-egoic and let him speak through us. So however you find your purpose, but make sure it's making a difference and helping you take the steps towards your quote unquote utopia. But if you keep living within this matrix, it's got you. I don't care how many books you read, how many documentaries you watch, how many podcasts you listen to. If you're stuck in that headspace of how bad it is and, oh my God, the darkness, it's got you. That's it. That's all I can say on that.
Yep. And that's 100% true. You have to, they're winning, and you need to wake up and turn the page on that, look for the light in everything, know that God's in control. I get wrapped up sometimes and like, oh my gosh, like the things that I know, the things that are happening to people, it's hard to comprehend. And it's so heinous that that's what they count on, is for people to just go, that isn't even humanly possible that someone could do that I don't believe it. And that's what they're counting on. But remember that this has been going on since Satan and a third of the angels were cast out of heaven. And it's not going to change. So you have to change your perspective and your outlook on it and stay in the light, get out of the dark. Jesus wins. He wins. It's already the battle is already won. You just have to pick up your cross daily and walk in faith.
Yep. You must walk in faith, and whatever your beliefs are, spiritually, religious, whatever it is, whatever your faith is, there's if it's making you a better person and it's helping you to be a bright light in this world, then continue to follow that path, right? The darkness can't stay dark if you shine your light and walk in light and walk in love and walk in harmony and walk in solution. Everything's a vibration, everything's a frequency. The words we speak, it's a frequency, it has energy. Spelling, think of that word, spelling words. We're casting spells with everything we say and speak with our words. Everything is energy. So we really need to be cautious of everything we say, do, and think, and act from that vantage point. But we must, I know for me, I have to act from the vantage point of surrendering to Christ, the Holy Spirit, Jesus Christ, in my heart, in my soul, in my mind, and walk by faith and never by sight. And that is the ultimate goal for myself. And I hope for anyone listening, something that was said in this touched you in a way that this turns over a new leaf, and you will be more solution-based and solution mode, and not be afraid to speak to people or reach out to us with ideas. And, hey, I always had this idea of this land somewhere in Wyoming, whatever it may be and where it may be. The possibilities are infinite. We have to keep proactive thought process and dialogue. It's crucial. It's absolutely crucial. So, Clara, do you have anything else to add before we wrap this up?
I think that's it. It's always an honor to be on here with you, and thank you for doing what you do. And we hope that we can touch the hearts and souls of those that are wandering around or those that are questioning. And so thanks for joining us, you guys. We're grateful to have you.
Likewise. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you on our lives. We're doing lives now pretty regularly on Wednesdays and Sundays, it looks like, Facebook and Instagram, either or. Just check out our pages. Normally around somewhere between, Sarah, 6:30 and 7 Pacific, somewhere in that time slot. We're kind of shooting for roughly. And then just continue to check out these new episodes. Every Wednesday, there's a new one. You can find it on Spotify, Rumble, X, and YouTube. And that's it. We thank you for joining us at the Overstood Human Podcast.
Thank you for watching the Overstood Human Podcast. Be sure to join in next week. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Always consult with your physician before starting any exercise program or doing anything contained in this podcast.